In July of 2009, a longtime Reddit user known as ReligionOfPeace passed away. He wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't famous outside of internet forums. But within a small corner of Reddit, he was well known. A gruff, no-nonsense voice in threads about guns, military life, and a very specific kind of old-school discipline. He posted often, with a sharp tone and dark sense of humor, and acted as a moderator for subreddits like r/guns. He often mentioned being an older man, having military experience, and running a small web server. So when his account posted a message one day saying that he had died at his desk, it seemed at first like just another online life quietly ending. But almost immediately, something felt off. Because within hours, another user claimed to be his friend. He used the same account and announced that "Dumbfuck died. He's gone." He said he'd handled the funeral arrangements and that ROP's ashes had already been scattered. No obituary, no record, just a message on Reddit, and the story moved on. At least it should have. But Reddit users are curious, and some of them began digging into who ReligionOfPeace really was, and what they found would become one of the strangest internet mysteries of all time. A tale that would span hidden code, secret websites, military jargon, and what may have been an assassination ring hiding in plain sight. To understand what came next, you have to understand who ReligionOfPeace appeared to be. He had over 150,000 karma points, a massive number in 2009, and thousands of comments. Most of them were angry, sarcastic, or mocking, especially when it came to people who didn't understand weapons or military tactics. But his voice was consistent. He wrote in a clipped, tactical tone. He shared little bits of philosophy about wet work, a euphemism used in military circles to mean assassination or covert killing. And he mentioned more than once that he was hosting jobs for old spooks. Most users assumed he was just a grumpy veteran who liked to tell stories. But then, after his death was posted, that little comment about hosting jobs came back. The person using his account, the one who announced his death, added that ROP had also run a small file server and that it was no longer online. Reddit being Reddit, someone tracked it down anyway. The site was called LakeCityQuietPills.com. The name alone raised eyebrows. Lake City is a reference to Lake City Army Ammunition Plant, a real-life U.S. government facility that manufactures military-grade bullets. And quiet pills? That's a term used in military slang to mean a bullet to the head, something used to quiet someone permanently. The full slogan on the site read, "Dispensing Lake City quiet pills to lousy bastards who need it." It sounded like a joke, an edgy line. But what people found next made it feel like anything but. The homepage was simple. A black background, a short slogan. No links, no flashy design. Just one screen, sitting out in the open. But someone decided to check the HTML source code behind the site. The kind of thing most people never think to look at. And that's where things got really strange. Hidden inside the source were a series of job listings. Not regular jobs. These were coded military-style contracts. Looking for 8-10 operatives fluent in Farsi. No paper, 4-6 weeks, high risk, immediate need. Seeking surveillance support in South America. Must be ex-mil, discreet. Contract opening, Europe, escort package, no ID, 3 weeks. The language was cold, professional, and very, very specific. The jobs mentioned travel, no documentation, high-risk environments, and most importantly, they were updated regularly. Some appeared, then vanished. Others changed slightly, suggesting active use. People began connecting dots. ROP had once mentioned working with ex-agents. He joked about wet work more than once. He posted about needing quiet professionals. Suddenly, those jokes didn't seem so funny. And the more people looked, the more coincidences began to pile up. For example, on January 18, 2010, a high-ranking Hamas official named Mahmoud al-Mabhouh was assassinated in a luxury hotel in Dubai. It was a professional hit. The killers used forged passports, arrived separately, and left within hours. It was coordinated down to the minute. Just days before the hit, the Lake City Quiet Pills site had posted a message. "Happy New Year, everyone. We're having a birthday party for the old man on the 19th. Party starts at 1500 at the usual spot. Send your RSVP to Shade FYI. We've booked a room for 3 days for anyone coming in from out of town and overnight for the locals. Come hoist one for Dutch Milo." Shortly after that, the site went offline. The job listings stopped, and the chatter disappeared. It was as if the whole thing had been burned down and erased. The Reddit community exploded. Conspiracy forums lit up. YouTube creators, 4chan threads, and independent bloggers started poring over every detail they could find. IP lookups, email traces, domain ownership records. They discovered that LakeCityQuietPills.com was linked to a user named Angel26. That name also appeared on Reddit, briefly, and wrote with the same cold tone as ROP. And they noticed something else. ROP had once posted a link to a domain hosting adult images, not pornography, but what he called military girl pinups. That site was hosted on the same server as Lake City Quiet Pills. Both domains had similar metadata. Both were registered under aliases with almost no identifying information. Everything was connected, but nothing made sense. And so theories began to form. Theory 1. This was real. A hidden job board for ex-military contractors, or worse, a murder-for-hire site. When the internet found it, the people running it pulled the plug. Theory 2. It was a complex ARG, an alternate reality game designed to look like a real-world conspiracy. Maybe it was performance art, a puzzle, an elaborate fiction. Theory 3. It was one man, maybe Rop himself, creating a roleplay fantasy that just got out of control. But here's the problem. No one ever claimed it. No game developer, no hoaxer, no writer. And the level of detail, the real-world references, the job listings, the coded language, was too specific to be easily dismissed. Even people who wanted to believe it was fake couldn't explain everything. The deeper you dig into this story, the more it starts to feel less like a mystery, and more like a warning that was never meant to be uncovered. And just like that, it was gone. LakeCityQuietPills.com went offline. The account went silent. The domain expired, and all attempts to track it led to dead ends. Cached versions of the job listings vanished from the web archive. DNS records were wiped. It was as if someone had erased every digital fingerprint. And that might be the most chilling part of all. Because on the internet, nothing truly disappears. Even old MySpace pages and ancient tweets can live on. But Lake City Quiet Pills? It didn't just disappear. It was removed. With purpose. So what do we make of it? If it was real, it means a covert operation was hiding in plain sight, using Reddit and a small, obscure website to recruit for lethal missions. If it was fake, it was one of the most convincing and well-crafted internet hoaxes of all time, with no resolution, no creator, and no reward. But maybe the truth is something in between. Maybe it was real once and then turned into a game. Maybe it started as fiction and someone made it real. Or maybe we'll never know, because the people who do know made sure it stayed that way. Lake City Quiet Pills remains a ghost story of the internet age, a digital trail of death, whispers, and questions no one can answer. Some mysteries are solved with evidence, but this one seems to grow darker the more light you shine on it. And somewhere out there, someone might still be watching to make sure it stays that way.